Well, hello, coaches. It's Coach KW here. Feel like it's been a while. It was a busy season for me in more ways than one, and so I kind of slacked on the videos. But now that it's the winter season, I will be able to get back, and hopefully I'll catch up and help you all. This year, I was coaching 9v9, but in my town, I'm the player development director slash technical director, so I help lots of teams. So I have some content coming up where I go do some guest coaching at the 7v7 level, which I love. We're going to look at that. But today I'm going to look at why it's so important at 7v7 to prepare your players to play out of the back so you can get to 9v9. And what I'm going to do is I have some video examples. I finished my season. I'm lucky enough that I'm able to video every one of my games so I can review them and take a look at things. Some great stuff come out of those videos. But one of the things that becomes super apparent when you watch some of these videos is the opposition. What happens with the opposition when you can clearly tell that they have not prepared in 7v7 how to play out of the back? What happens when the field is twice as big and those strategies that maybe had a little bit more success at 7v7 because the field was half the size now utterly fail? And what's really great is because in my town, we play the same towns over and over again. I actually have footage of 7v7 of a couple of the teams that we played last year or the year before in third and fourth grade. And then basically the same team we played against now in 9v9. And I think when we look at this, you'll really see why I harp so strongly about playing out of the back at U10 to get their players ready for when it's 9v9 and that field is twice as big, because it does make a difference. It makes a huge difference in their ability to play and to be comfortable, because now no longer is a build out line. No longer is that team pushed back artificially to either halfway up your zone or in my league, in many leagues, the halfway line to give your players now more time. Now those players are sitting literally 16 yards away from the goal line, much tighter, and you have to have the confidence and the ability and the structure to play out of the back at that level, or it's just going to come right back at you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up some video. We're going to look at U10 and U12 back and forth and see real life examples of why it's so important to learn these skills early, because once you get to the next level, it's almost too late. Okay, so here we have, well, way back in September of 23. So this is when this is probably the second game of the season with my fourth graders, who are now my fifth graders, who were my third graders. And we're going to take a look at this particular team. I'm going to blur out what team we're playing because I don't want to call anybody out like this. But basically, we're going to look at a U10 couple of clips, and then we're going to go to the U12 game where we play basically the same kids, because I recognize many of them from the roster, and see what goes on. So here, goal kick from the other team, whole bunch of them, long ball up towards the middle, and now they kind of lose possession, and away we go back at them. So if I was to take a look at this game and pull up a whole bunch of clips, which I did, you would see a repeated pattern of this over and over again. This is now fourth grade. These kids are probably in their second year, although it is U10, so it could be a mix of third and fourth graders at the time. Although, again, I recognize a lot of these players for the next game. But my point being is, this team, all they did every time they had a goal kick was either have the keeper take it, or they had one of their center backs, who was even bigger, come back there and try and launch the ball up to halfway line. What I want to do here is compare and contrast. So this isn't a goal kick, but it's the same sort of concept. We're playing out from the back after a stoppage. I'll be honest. When I go to look for goal kicks, because our team did such a good job of playing out from the back and holding possession, we in most games had very few goal kicks. It was actually kind of annoying to record these games looking for video examples and then realizing that in a game sometimes I had one goal kick the entire game, which is a testament to how well my players played. But again, so this is indicative of how we might play out of the back of the goal kick. And we'll look at a few other examples. There was an injury and it was a goal kick, but the referee had to start where the injury started. But you're going to see the same basic concepts. The other team is backed up to halfway. My keeper starts with the ball. You can see the structure on the field. You can see my two center backs split out wide and nearby. My wingers are out wide. My striker and my 8 are out here, although I'd love my striker to be further up. But again, this is what happens. This is the second game of the season, maybe third game of the season at U10. So still a little bit rusty. So let's just watch this clip through. My keeper starts with the ball. We play the ball short. Now the pressure comes on. We're comfortable enough to play to the other center back who takes it out wide, plays it into the players that's tucked in, and up the field we go. So again, having that comfort to be able to play from the back. These are fourth graders in their second or third game of the season, so they've only been doing this a year. This isn't like this is a finished project, obviously. But again, those skills of working, playing out of the back, having that structure, playing the short pass, maintaining control, these are fourth graders. Now, let's compare and contrast this to when we played this basically same team a whole year later when we played the same town. So here we have the same town that we were just looking at, now 9v9. A little different. We're playing on turf. This was honestly maybe our only game on turf the entire season. So a little bit different for our kids, to be honest with you, because we always are on natural grass. Here's the same team. Here's the goal kick routine. Now it's 9v9. Watch for what happens. Keeper has the ball. And what's going to happen? They have center backs. They have people that are close. But nope. We're going to kick that ball straight up the middle where then we come right back at them and come right back down their throat. So again, what they learned in U10 was to do that. And what they did in U12 now is not working because the field is twice as big. These teams should be around the same level as my kids. We're not world beaters. We're not the best on the planet, but they're well drilled and well trained. I will say that. And they're good kids, but they have a structure in place. They know what to do, and they've practiced it for 2 years. Let's take a look at another clip. Okay, so here's another team, another town we were playing. This was, again, this was actually a week after that last clip. So we're playing another town, which we then play 9v9, which we're going to look at the video in a few minutes. But here we are, goal kick. What happens? Everybody's pushed way up. We're going to launch that ball up, trying to find the two partnership on the right. Notice there was two players over here on the right that were trying to receive the ball. The ball is kicked up long, and then it works like that. Here we are, 9v9. Same town, now 9v9. It's a whole year later, basically. This was our last game of the season, so at first weekend of November. Same team, basically, lots of the same players. I recognize a number of them. Here's their goal kick routine. Now, their goal kick routine was pretty much the same thing. It started with the keeper taking it, and then the keeper wasn't kicking it far enough for the coach's liking, so now we have the two center backs standing next to each other, and then eventually it was just a one kid. But you'll notice there's two players up there. That's their strategy. They try to play up to one and basically win the second ball. And what would happen over and over and over again is once my team figured out what was going on, we just started to adjust for that. And that was some of the reason why this team started to also bring some of their players back. But if you look, they've basically emptied this entire side of the field so that these three players can stand down here, plus this center back over here, to take a long ball. There's no structure. There's no plan. It's just hope and pray that they're going to get that ball up to these couple of big players that they'll then be able to beat somebody 1v1. And you can see, I'm going to scoot so I can look. On this side of the field, I have one player pressing, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players around these three right now. When they win that ball, they're outnumbered 5-3, and we win the ball back and come back the other way. Here's another goal kick from the same game, from the same team. You can see there's only one player right now because this is a little bit earlier in the game. You'll notice here, I'll stop quickly, we hadn't quite adjusted to what they were doing yet. So we had two players in pressing positions because honestly, when we practice goal kicks, we practice against ourselves, and we're used to playing out of the back. And it was one of those situations where as we watch video throughout the year, we realized we need to teach our team how to deal with the fact that nobody else was playing like us, which can be an interesting realization when you look at this. But we have two players pressing. We have 1v1 here. We're having a little coffee conversation over here. I don't know what's going on. And this player here really needs to be out wider. And you'll see they'll start to come out wider, but don't get wide enough. We make that adjustment as the game goes along. But you'll see, once again, ball's on the corner here. And what's the plan? Try and kick it as far as they can out to that way, where now we cut that off and start coming right back in. Same team as we just watched a few minutes ago. Here's another example. So now we're into the second half. So you saw what was happening with those goal kicks coming right back. So now the players are starting to get frustrated because they realize every time they play that long ball, it's coming right back at them. So the player on the ball decides that he's going to take matters into his own hand and try something, which to me has initiative. But we start this play, they go and play. Our press slides over because we know what's about to happen, and he plays across to the other keeper. If I had the sound on, you can imagine what was being yelled from the sideline immediately. Do not play the ball across your box. That's what the coach yelled to the player. So that was the one and only time that they tried to do something that could beat the press, because they realized every time we try this, it's not working. So the players had the right idea. The coach squashed it, and for the rest of the game, they did not try and do that a single time. So in this example, it's after the fact that the coach has yelled at them, doesn't want them to play, so now we've slid over. We've kind of got everybody relatively covered. They've pulled, again, a center back over to take the ball, and in this case, this is one of the examples where this play, 22 seconds it takes about, we end up with the ball in the back of the net. They go to play the ball. They've got two players now standing over the ball. Looks familiar from that 7v7 clip, right? They play that long ball into the big kid. With kid surrounded by three players. Play a ball across. He beats his man, takes a quick shot into the back of the net. We end up winning this game 6-1, but it was comprehensive. We had no problems handling this team, and a lot of it is once we got down the field, because we're used to passing in the small areas, if it went out of bounds and they had a goal kick, almost every goal kick came right back down their throat. And eventually in the second half, we just started scoring goals for fun. I said earlier, it's difficult for me to find goal kick examples, and I do actually run the stats on all my games, just again, for my own thought process on how to make things better for my town and such. And in this game, we had a grand total, I think, of 5 goal kicks total, and that was probably a high. Most of our games, some of our games, we only had 2 or 3. So it was kind of interesting. We would spend a lot of time playing out of the back and then not have a lot of goal kicks, because the skills needed to play out of the back successfully translate to all the parts of the field where we maintain possession. And so therefore we didn't give up a lot of goal kicks. So it's kind of an interesting crossover when you look at that. But this is one of our better ones. How many times have you heard an opposition coach screaming, "Not in the middle"? Well, here we could see that the way they set up their press, they left the middle completely empty. Their striker was not on the middle. And my team has now got to the point where they recognize, is it 1 presser, 2 pressers, or 3 pressers? And what do we do? In this example here, you'll see a fantastic play right up, right? Our 6 is wide open. Moves it to the opposite 6, who then just holds onto the ball, finds his partner coming through, looks up, plays that ball out wide. Winger probably should have been a little bit wider, but then, takes a left-footed shot on goal. But what a beautiful example of just how easy it is to play up and through when you have that confidence and you've played with your players through U10 to teach them, look, any place is a good pass, not just out wide every single time. I want to show one more here. Again, having players that are comfortable on the ball and have learned to be comfortable on the ball, you're going to watch this sequence, and many coaches who would watch this at U10 or U12 would have a heart attack and would be screaming at the player that's in the middle. But in the end, they did exactly what it is that we want them to be able to do. Let's just play this through. So we have a goal kick. Keeper's playing from the start. He sees that there's not a lot of room. Now, if I'm being picky, my 6 here is too close. They need to be up where this referee is, and then my 10, or really my 8, needs to be up and out here. But there's a little bit of confusion. Again, they're 5th graders. They're not perfect. and we don't get a lot of goal kicks. So this might have been, the third goal kick in this entire game, to be honest with you. That's in the first half here, so probably it's my first or second. But we're going to take this ball. He starts to move out, takes the ball. He's under pressure, holds on to it, plays it out wide. My center back, he's got pressure. I can't play it wide. Plays back. He holds on to it. He gets past his man. Now he turns around now that the pressure's gone away. Center back has stepped up into a pocket, and now they start to move up the play, up the side. So again, how many times would you have seen that where the coach is screaming at his kids to not play up the middle? That is exactly what you want them to do, because you need to be able to play in the middle of the field, and there's no reason to put a player there. But that all comes from the confidence of doing that very similar concept we've talked about when we did on the whiteboard over here, when we talked about the goal kick at 7v7, playing that ball up to the 6 and then back to your center back. We talked about that at U10, 7v7, and we do that, and we've done that a bunch of times in games and practice, and now we have more players on the field with more pressure, but they're more comfortable doing it, and that's all you want them to do, because at 11v11, the middle of the field is huge. You've got to be able to use it. This is why it's so important to teach us at U10, is because as you go forward up in the age groups, it just becomes more and more important. Well, I hope you found that useful. It has such been an exciting and refreshing season for me at U12 9v9, because all the things that we did at U10 have come to roost. All that work of playing out of the back, being comfortable with the ball in all areas, having that structure to not just play a ball long, has meant that during this season, we were undefeated. And beyond that, which doesn't really mean that much, it was the control that we had in every single game where we were able to possess the ball. We were able to move the ball from player to player, from left to right, from front to back with ease, because they had learned all those skills on a field that was half as big. My players were so excited to go to 9v9 because they realized they were going to have so much more time and space that the things that were difficult at U10 became so much easier at U12. Now, it's a big adjustment, and sometimes on a lot of these U12 fields, the fields are too small, and you end up playing almost on a U10 field, playing U12 soccer, which can be difficult. It levels the playing field a little bit. That last game that we played, that we saw there, was on a field that was not much bigger than our 7v7 field, so it made it a little bit more difficult. But still, the kids handle that space and time and pressure so well because we spent so much time at U10. If you do nothing more at U10 but teach them how to play out of the back with that structure, it's going to just give you so much of an advantage when the field gets so much bigger, twice as big at 9v9. I hope you found this useful. Sorry I haven't been around for a while. If there's other content that you would like to see, I'd love to see it in the comments. I feel it's really helpful to know what you want as I go forward with this channel. So subscribe, like, share, please. You got those reluctant coaches on your staff or on your team or your partners are like, no, I just kick it, like, I don't understand. Show them this. Show them why it's so important. My kids are not world beaters. They're good players, but it's not like I have a pool of 100 kids to pick from. I get to pick my 14 from a pool of 36. I don't have unlimited resources. My town is not a soccer town. It's just a matter of good coaching and using the right things in the right places. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you real soon. Thanks. Bye.